Ann Milgram, the executive, the head of the DEA, just pulled all the executives aside. They told him to come to an isolated office on the 12th floor of the DEA headquarters, nicknamed the Bubble, where she sat everyone down for the marijuana meeting. And there was one little tiny caveat there. No one was allowed to take any notes. Now, that's where she also broke the news about Biden is about to reschedule marijuana, right? A move the DEA was blocking for a long time. Now, she also told everybody that the Justice Department was going to take control of the scheduling process away from the DEA, and that the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, was the one who's going to sign off on the order, not Milgram herself, who would normally be the one to do that. She didn't give any reasons for it, and no explanations were given. The order signed by Merrick Garland said that the DEA has not made a determination as to its views of the appropriate schedule for marijuana. In fact, the last move made by the DEA was to write a letter to the Justice Department asking for more scientific information and for more time in order to assess if there was accepted medical use for marijuana. But they were totally overruled because they said the DEA's criteria was just impermissibly narrow. It didn't make any sense. So this definitely kind of does point the arrow toward political interference here. Biden definitely, he's coming into an election, right? He definitely needed this rescheduling to happen, and he was not about to wait for the DEA to throw a wrench in his plans. Now, the Controlled Substance Act, the stipulations in that act gave the regulation of Schedule I, Schedule II, all the scheduled substances to the Justice Department, and they gave the responsibility to classify those drugs to the DEA. So the DEA insiders are all crying foul. Even though they were way behind on the deadline to make their decision, they were still saying they did not have enough time to make their decision for all the to look at all the scientific information. And the fact that the Ann Milgram did not sign off on this order they're saying that it's a clear evidence that politicians stepped in and they're overriding the process here. But attorneys defending Garland's decision said he had to step in. The HHS, who made the recommendation in the first place to move marijuana on the schedule system, and the DEA both have very sharp, differing views on the topic. Now, the HHS says that there is much less of a risk to public health that marijuana poses as opposed to other Schedule I, Schedule II substances, and that it shows evidence that it can be used to treat medical conditions like anorexia, pain, depression, a whole bunch of others. But the DEA has been pushing back on that pretty darn hard, and they've listed at least 10 officially documented instances where they did not believe what the HHS was saying. They looked at the scientific evidence and they said, I don't believe it. So now, even though the head of the DEA has not signed off on the rescheduling process, the DEA has been instructed to show significant deference to the HHS's medical findings. Basically, you can't argue with it anymore. Shut up. And so now they're in an open comment period before they make a final decision as to what the rules are going to be. And Milgram has been pretty darn tight-lipped about this whole process, too. Now, she only started in the DEA in 2021. And when she did that, she privately told some of her peers, hey, look, this marijuana legalization process, it's more of a distraction. Look, it's not a priority for me. I'm going to focus more on the fentanyl crisis. So she right away put the legalization question on the back burner. And when she was Attorney General of New Jersey, when the present governor, or when the governor at the time passed medical marijuana, she didn't have much comment about that either. All she basically says was the legislation was workable, and she left it at that.